What is going on, trainers? DrumVillain here, bringing you some more Pokemon Go PvP content. I hope you guys have been having a good time with the Zarude release event. We've done pretty well ourselves in the start of this event. We've had a few shinies we've picked up in the last few days, including the Pikachu. We already had the Pikachu from when it was released. I think it was December last year, but it's nice to get a spare if anyone's looking for a trade for it, as well as a cheeky spare Dwebble and Oddish. Let me know how you guys are getting on with the event down below. And today we're going to be talking about a Master League team. And this is a Master League team without any legendary Pokemon. And this is going to be taking place in the Master League Classic, but there's no reason why this team wouldn't work in the Open Master League at level 50. If you do have these Pokemon and the XL Candy available to them, I do have a level 50 Metagross and I do have the XLs to max out a Garchomp, but I haven't bothered to commit to powering up yet because I just don't want to spend that Stardust yet. I'm quite low on Stardust. I like to hang on to some in case something new and exciting gets released to power up ready to make a video for you guys on. Now obviously Master League is very expensive no matter what, but this can save you a bit of dust if you'd rather max out a Metagross, a Garchomp and a Togekiss than 3 legendary Pokemon. You'd still save 100,000 Stardust or more doing that, just because the second charge moves cost so much for legendary Pokemon. And some players don't have access to as many raids. They might not have a local community that's raiding legendaries hard. They might not be able to spend money to grind out the XL candies or even just the regular candies to power up a legendary to level 40. So I thought it'd be a good idea to make a non-legendary team that's quite functional. This is quite a strong team. I was surprised at how well it actually functions and how well it can deal with the legendary Pokemon that are very, very prominent in the Master League and the Master League Classic. The team consists of Garchomp on the lead, and this is Mudshot, Outrage and Sand Tomb Garchomp, so you do not need the legacy move Earth Power from the Community Day. You could choose to run it instead of Sand Tomb if you wanted, so you've got double hard-hitting moves, but the Sand Tomb bait is very, very nice to have. It does very well against a lot of the steel types and hits them quite hard regardless, but it's completely up to your preference. I personally like to run Sand Tomb and Outrage, but you can definitely run Earth Power and get away with it. And in the back we've got Metagross with the Community Day move of Meteor Mash. You have to have Meteor Mash on your Metagross in the Master League. It makes it so much better. And then we've got Togekiss running Charm, Flamethrower and Ancient Power. You can run Aerial Ace instead, but its use is limited. They are generally both only for a little bits of chip damage, and you might as well have the chance at getting that ridiculous boost with the Ancient Power. And Flamethrower is necessary to be able to hit steel types for a lot of damage. If they come in, let's say after you farm down a Dragon type with your Togekiss, you can land a Flamethrower on a Melmetal or a Metagross for big damage. Now, the save swap on this team varies depending on what leads you run into. Obviously, if they're likely to have a Melmetal or a Metagross in the back, you really don't want to save swap Togekiss. So you only do that if you're pretty sure that they're going to be running some other different Pokemon in the back. With all that said and done, we're on the road to 1,000 subscribers, so do all that good stuff, hit the like button, help me fight the algorithm gods to make that climb up to that 1,000 subscriber goal, and let's jump into some battles. The first matchup that we pull is a Kyogre lead, and this might seem like a bad lead, but honestly, this is a good lead. Garchomp can take those surfs. It's quite bulkier than you think it is, and obviously you don't want Metagross lined up with this, and Togekiss can go toe-to-toe with Kyogre, but again, you're going to have to be committing shields against the surfs, and Garchomp can threaten big damage going straight for that Outrage, and Outrage alone will not KO a Kyogre, but if you bait them with Sand Tomb first and then throw an Outrage, it probably will. But most Kyogres probably won't shield the first move you throw. I was surprised this opponent actually did. I don't think it's worth trying to shield bait in this situation. I think it's worth going straight for the Outrage for big damage. And just by landing that Outrage, we're able to farm down with Bullet Punch from Metagross. And Metagross with an energy lead in the Master League is incredibly threatening to most things. They come in with Dialga, we're going to go straight for the Earthquake. We do get a shield out of them, so now they're all shields down, and we've got a Togekiss, and we've got Metagross. So let's see what we can do here. We're going to shield this up and get to this Earthquake. We're a little bit conscious they might try and catch, but we're going to throw straight away. We don't want them to get to an Iron Head or even a Thunder and risk taking us out. Bang! Dialga gets smashed to a million pieces, and they've got their own Togekiss in the back. So we're going to swap out into our Togekiss because Metagross is going to get farmed down, and we want to make sure that our Togekiss can survive long enough to get to a charge move here. We're just going to pray this Togekiss gets the boost. This could all be over, and this sneaker charm through. This is absolutely horrendous for us. This is still going to do a nice little chunk of damage. The bullet punches when Metagross comes in are still going to be super effective, but is it going to be enough? That boost could really cost us a bit of go battle lag. Super close, one bullet punch, and we take the win. GG. Any Pokemon that gets that ancient power boost becomes disgustingly strong, and Togekiss is no exception, but still just able to edge out that win. Now we're going to go ahead and jump straight into the second matchup, and we pull an Excadrill lead. This is a brilliant lead for this team. Excadrill does very well against both Togekiss and Metagross, so you definitely want it lined up with the Garchomp. You can comfortably take one charge move, and they swap in a Lugia trying to catch a move, and we actually decide to throw a Sand Tomb anyway into it just to drop this Lugia's defense. And now we're going to swap out into Metagross. Metagross is going to be resisting the Sky Attack, it's going to resist the Aeroblast. Aeroblast does hit pretty hard, it hits everything pretty hard, but now we've debuffed the Lugia. This Meteor Mash is going to do a lot of damage, hits very, very hard. We maybe could have thrown a second Sand Tomb. Aeroblast hits like an absolute truck, but not quite as hard as the Meteor Mash. Now we are going to have to throw another one, because we don't want the Lugia to throw a Sky Attack and us have to shield. Even as much we want to farm down, if we'd have thrown a second Sand Tomb from Garchomp, we'd have been in a better position to take them out with just one Meteor Mash, but then we'd have been taking a lot more Dragon Tail damage, and the switch clocks would have been getting more and more out of sync. Now Excadrill chooses to take that Meteor Mash and does a huge piece of damage. Excadrill is squishy, Meteor Mash hits like a truck, doesn't matter that it's resisted. And they're going to choose to shield a Sand Tomb because they want to get a move off on our Garchomp. And that's, well, they've got two charge moves actually built up, so they did have a lot of energy they didn't want to go to waste. We're going to shield the second one and see what they bring in. It's a Hydreigon, and we stutter for a second before realizing, oh, of course, we've got Togekiss, and it gets absolutely melted. Double super effective charm is absolutely appalling. The opponent surrenders, and that's going to be a good game. Hydreigon in the back is an underrated pick in the Master League, but it getting walled by that Togekiss was really unfortunate for the opponent there. We're going to jump into the third battle, and we pull a Zacian lead. Now this is a pretty bad lead, I would say, but it's better if you're running Mud Shot, because you can build up a lot of energy and you can jump those Sand Tombs out pretty fast, and they do start adding up, and you can survive that play rough. If you let it go through on Garchomp, you can survive it. The Zacian still can't farm you down because the Snarls hit for such little damage. Now we were hoping maybe to get a shield out of them if they thought we were going for Earth Power, but I think Zacian can comfortably survive that anyway, so they knew they didn't have to shield. We're going to swap into Metagross because both Metagross and Togekiss do well against Zacian, so it's just tempting them to swap out, see what they've got in the back. If we do get switch advantage, brilliant. They bring in a Giratina Origin, so that's awful for us. So we're not going to be able to take switch advantage, and we decide to bring in Togekiss, start getting ahead on energy, and we know if we bring in Togekiss we can farm them down before they get to another charge move, because they threw Shadow Ball straight away, so they couldn't even make it to an Ominous Wind at that point. They bring in a Dialga, and Togekiss looks like it can put in a lot of work against this team in general. I think this is going to be worth shielding because we're at a Flamethrower, and that should at least get one of these shields out of the opponent. I'm going to throw this, and we might try and catch an Iron Head on Garchomp. No, they're going to swap out straight away to Zacian, and we should stay in here with Togekiss. We decide to catch. If this is a play rough, it's going to hurt like an absolute massive damage, but doesn't quite take us out. And now we can throw one Sand Tomb, it won't take them out, but the second one would. We actually get a shield out of them here because, well, they've got to shield something at this point. They're getting very, very low. I'm going to throw a second Sand Tomb, and this will take out Zacian if they let it go through. They do shield it up, which I suppose it makes sense because there's not much chance of the Togekiss getting 20 more moves. In this battle, none of Zacian's charge moves are that threatening to Togekiss, but it will hit pretty hard still, that play rough all the same. And then Dialga just able to finish us off before we can charm them down. Very close match, but good game. Okay, fourth match coming up, and this is a common lead now in the Master League, and that's Mewtwo. Because Mewtwo is super versatile, it does well against Zacian, which is also a very popular lead since its release. And with Garchomp, we're going to stay in here because we're probably going to get a shield with this. We built up to the Outrage, and we do get the shield, so we land the shield bait. And this is fantastic. This Mewtwo's built up a lot of energy, so whatever this is, we should shield it, because if it's an Ice Beam, it'd want... We let it through! It's a Side Strike. It does not take us out, so that's really good for us that we've managed to bait, and they failed to bait with Side Strike. And we get the Outrage through, annihilate the Mewtwo. We got Switch advantage, we've got Shield advantage, they've got Dialga. We should probably bring We're going to bring Togekiss in, that's fair. Yeah, because we've got 2 shields to 1. So what we can do here is we can shield twice and completely farm down this Dialga. And hopefully Togekiss can hit something pretty hard with the Flamethrower. Or maybe we can just get this Dialga pretty low and then we can... Oh, we tried to try and catch an... We try and catch an Iron Head on Metagross. We don't get away with the catch, but we actually pull out a Giratina Origin that's hiding in the back, so we know that Togekiss is the win condition, so we can feel more assured in shielding the Iron Head on the Togekiss from the Dialga. We're not going to shield the Metagross, it's not our win condition, we're going to let it go down. They do farm us a little bit, and I think this is worth letting go because the Dialga will make it to an Iron Head and that will take us out. It's a Shadow Ball, it hits us very, very hard, but we're going to be able to farm down, and I think we're going to throw the Ancient Power. Now, they're going to shield this up, but it's worth it for the odd chance of the boost, just to secure the win. We don't get the boost. The Dialga throws, which I think is a mistake, because we can just shield this up, and we've got a Charm through, it's going to take them out, that's going to give us the win. I don't think it mattered if the Dialga threw the charge move or not, we still would have probably just taken them out first, but definitely not worth it on their part. So far going 3-1 in this set. Let's see what we can do with the last matchup, see if we can take a win. Now we pull a Giratina Altered lead. Giratina Altered is a very strong pick, not as common as Giratina Origin is in the Master League, but it is strong all the same and has slightly different coverage and different matchups that are favourable for it. Against Garchomp, Garchomp can do quite well because the Outrage hits very, very hard. They're going to swap out into a Dialga. And I feel like if they're swapping out into a Dialga and they've got a Dragon on the lead, they might have a Charmer in the back. They must have something that does well against Garchomp in the back, otherwise it's not worth them swapping out. We bring Metagross in, and we're not going to shield the first move, and if it had been a Draco, that probably would have taken us out. But it's a Thunder, it does big damage, but not enough to take us out. We're going to get to an Earthquake, bang, take out the Dialga. The good thing is, in that situation, is because we've already got shield advantage, they're not very likely to shield no matter what they throw. And now we can bring Garchomp back in against the Giratina Altered. We've just got a feeling they've got something that's stronger against Garchomp in the back, so we're bringing it in here, and they do, it's a Togekiss. So we're going to swap in our Togekiss, and now it's just a Charm matchup, and we're just chipping each other down. We're one Charm behind because we swapped in. And we're going to have to shield up this Aerial Ace. It could have been an Ancient Power, but either way, it's going to do a good chunk of damage to us. We're going to go for this Ancient Power, and now they snuck a Charm through, so we're very much behind on energy, but they don't shield, so we're going to be able to get some Charm damage off, but they've still got a shield. We need to get to, well, we need this to be shielded, and then we need to get to an Outrage to take the win, and we need to do it all before they get to a Dragon Claw, which will be enough to take us out, but they're already there. They found the Togekiss down. We're not going to be able to take this win here, and it's going to be a 3-2 in the first set using this team, which again, without Legendaries, I think is pretty impressive. Honestly, when I put this team together, I wasn't sure if it was going to be able to keep up with the overwhelming dominance that the Legendaries actually have in Master League, but it's proving that it can really hold its own against teams that are stacked with Legendary Pokemon. So far I'm quite happy with the squad. And the second set I've got to show you guys is even better. We did do both of these sets of battles back to back, and we did get quite a wide variance in leads as well to show you guys, and we actually pull a Metagross at the start of the second set, and that is fantastic for Garchomp. Garchomp does very, very well against Metagross. It actually doesn't do as well with Sand Tomb. If you've got Earth Power, you threaten massively, but with Sand Tomb, you kind of want to try and bait as if you've got Earthquake or Earth Power to get a shield out of them, otherwise you have to shield first against the Meteor Mash that they throw. But we're happy that they swap out. We're going to bring Metagross in against Zacian, and I don't actually think this is the best call. We should have brought Togekiss in, especially seeing as they had a Metagross on lead, so we could expend Togekiss there without it getting potentially locked against their Metagross. And also Togekiss resists the close combats, whereas Metagross has to shield the second one. The first one it can survive comfortably, but the second one will take it out, whereas Togekiss can comfortably take one play rough and all the snarls, and Zacian gets to play rough much slower than it gets to close combat. So the Metagross comes in, we bring in Garchomp, they swap out to their Garchomp, and we can lock Togekiss against this. So keeping Togekiss alive actually has paid off very well in this game. They must be trying to bait out Togekiss with the Zacian, so actually we didn't fall for it there, and I take back what I said about us should have bringing in Togekiss to Zacian. We should have saved it here because Metagross might have struggled against their Garchomp, and this means we can just lock down their team. The opponent surrenders, and that's going to give us the win. GG! When you see something like Metagross on the lead, it is always worth considering if they might try and bait out a Togekiss, because Metagross's strongest matchup really in the Master League is shutting down Togekiss incredibly hard. Now, next matchup we pull a Lugia lead, and we safe swap Togekiss because a Lugia lead isn't as likely to have a Steel type in the back because it's already weak to Steel itself, and they're probably expecting a Steel type to swap in. They'd be expecting a Metagross. That's why they've got the Kyogre there to shut it down, and Togekiss can do much better against Kyogre than Metagross can. They did sneak a Surf in when we threw our Ancient Power, so we're not going to be able to simultaneously KO. We're going to bring in Garchomp here and just take this move. It's probably a Surf. They can't really have got to anything else. They certainly can't have got to a Blizzard, and that's the only charge move Garchomp really needs to worry about. And they bring in Lugia, and we're going to swap in Metagross, expecting that Kyogre might be their best Metagross answer. And they've got Dialga in the back, so this is looking like it's got potential in this game. We need to take this Dialga out. We do get a shield with the Earthquake, which is unfortunate really. We wanted them to let that go through and take them out straight away. We're going to shield this up. It's a Draco Meteor, good lord. That would have hit us like an absolute truck. And the good thing here now is that they've debuffed their attack. We can build up a bit of extra energy before we throw the Earthquake, so we're closer to a Meteor Mash. Because against this Lugia, we need to land both a Meteor Mash from Metagross and we need to land an Outrage. Now, they get to a Sky Attack, and this might take, it might not be close. If it doesn't, I think we're going to swap to Garchomp, yeah. And we're actually going to build up, and we could go one of two ways here. We could have thrown 2 Sand Tombs, which means that the Meteor Mash will probably have KO'd after anyway, or we can just throw the Outrage. And they're over farming on energy. They're actually looking to farm down and throw a charge move at Metagross straight away. They don't realise that we actually have a Meteor Mash stored, so we win CMP tie, we can throw first. We're going to take out this Lugia, and it's going to give us the win. Now, if they'd have not let us get to that Sand Tomb as well, that Meteor Mash might not have KO'd with the Outrage. So, very close game either way, and GG to my opponent. The main downside to Mudshot on Garchomp is that you have 0 fast move pressure in almost all situations, especially against something like Lugia that's double resisting the Mudshot, so it's basically hitting for 1 damage per. Now, this matchup, Giratina, Origin lead, and they actually choose to swap out straight away, which is brilliant for us. We're going to bring in Metagross because Metagross loses quite badly to Giratina Origin, so we're just going to bring it in here and get it spent because both Garchomp and Togekiss can do quite well against Giratina Origin. But we also do want switch advantage because we presume they got something strong against Garchomp in the back. They let the Meteor Mash go through and take out their Zacian, and they must be going for an aggressive farm down with the Giratina Origin, which is going to give them a lot of energy. But we're going to get to this Meteor Mash, and this does big damage. It doesn't take them out, but it does do a nice big chunk. And I think we're going to bring in Togekiss. No, we're going to bring in Garchomp. Yeah, again, we're in the same position as in the earlier matchup where we presume that they probably have a Charmer or something in the back. So we want to make sure we're using Garchomp there. And we swap out, as they do, into a Togekiss. So this is just a mirror match here. We're going at the same pace. We've got the same amount of energy left. They don't sneak a Charm through when we throw the Ancient Power, which is brilliant for us. Now we're going to see if we can sneak one through when they throw. Nope, it's a CMP tie. That's no worries. We're going to shield this up and hope they don't get the boost. And then we're just going to farm each other down. And then Garchomp and Giratina are in the same position they were before, with the same energy and the same health as they were before. And I think we're just going to go for Sand Tomb spam. This could go 2 ways. I think we had enough time to just get to 2 Outrages, but also we figure we can get to 3 Sand Tombs. If they had have shielded that up, we could have just thrown the Outrage anyway. Now they get to an Ominous Wind, we're praying for no boost, we're at double Sand Tomb now, we can just throw these back to back, and this is going to give us the win. Yeah, I think we could have gone double Outrage, but also we were sweating a little bit, and we weren't sure if just the mud shots after landing 1 Sand Tomb would have been enough anyway, but good game. I think a great thing about Togekiss in the back is, again, with a Garchomp lead, a lot of players tend to swap in Dragon Breath users against Garchomp to pressure them, and Togekiss is a fantastic hard punish to anything running Dragon Breath. Now, here's an absolutely abysmal lead, Mamoswine. What the hell do you do against a Mamoswine lead? Well, you have a bad time, that's what I'm telling you right now. The Avalanche is going to annihilate Garchomp, it'll still take out Togekiss. Metagross is our best answer. We can't swap into Metagross, but we have to swap out of Garchomp. And swapping into Togekiss does tempt them to stay in, which is very nice for us. We don't get a shield with the Ancient Power, and they just survive, and they're going to get to an Avalanche, which is unfortunate because this means we go down both shields, but we figure we absolutely need switch advantage in this match, and they've got a Giratina Origin in the back, so we definitely did need switch advantage just to keep Metagross away from this thing. We're in a pretty bad spot here, being down 2 shields. They've got a Dialga as well, which we're going to get Metagross locked onto, but this is not good because in 0 shields, they can just build up they can shield this safely, whether it's an Earthquake or not, and they can farm us down a little bit with the Dragon Breath, and then they can throw a Draco Meteor, which definitely will take out Metagross. It's resisted, but it hits like an absolute truck. Here it comes, bang! Metagross gets absolutely annihilated by that. Now we're bringing in Garchomp, and we needed so much energy to win that game. We needed to get a shield with the Sand Tomb, land the second one, and then get to an Outrage. They throw an Iron Head, which is an absolute saving grace for us here. This gives us a slight window of opportunity. We're going to throw this Sand Tomb. We might have thrown it a little bit late. We should have thrown it a little sooner and then potentially farmed down the Dialga. We're going to swap into Giratina. We're going to throw a Sand Tomb. They have to shield this. They don't. We needed them to shield that and then to get to the Outrage. If we'd have thrown an Outrage there, we might have actually been able to win the game. It would have been close because the Dragon Breath from Dialga probably would have taken us out first, but we'd have been pretty close. But they're going to throw an Ominous Wind, take us out. That's going to give them that win. GG. Interestingly, if we'd have actually stayed in with Garchomp against the Mamoswine and then farmed it down with the Metagross afterwards, and then saved Togekiss for the Dialga and Giratina, we might have had a decent shot at that game, but we had to take a chance at swapping out and seeing if it pressured them to swap out. Now, the last match I'm going to talk about is a Mewtwo lead. This is the second Mewtwo lead we've seen in this video, and they're throwing the Psy Strike straight away. They've only thrown 5 Psycho Cuts, so we know it's a Psy Strike. We're not going to shield it up, we know we can survive it. We're going to build up a little extra. We're going to throw the Outrage 1 turn before they get to the Psy Strike because they will win CMP Tide. They let it go through. That's absolutely huge. I think we can shield this and potentially farm this Mewtwo down. It'll be close, but I think we can get it. They swap out into a Mamoswine. We're going to throw another Outrage. This is either going to get a shield or do massive damage. And then we're going to swap into Metagross. We get the shield, that's brilliant. And this is a pretty good matchup. Metagross can survive the Bulldoze pretty comfortably, I believe, if they do throw it. They do. Does a big chunk of damage, but bear in mind the Avalanche is massively resisted, so we're going to build up extra. We're going to throw a Meteor Mash before they get to an Avalanche, which would finish us off, and it pressures them to either use the last shield or go down. They bring in a Giratina Origin. They've got in the back. We can lock Togekiss onto this. This game is pretty much over. There's not much this opponent can do. I think they're probably going to throw an Ominous Wind and try and get, I think their win con here is to actually get the boost and for us to shield that Ominous Wind so they can absolutely nuke Togekiss afterwards. So we don't shield, we let it through, that's fine. Now we can use a shield on this Ominous Wind and we can farm down this Giratina completely, and we're going to be able to take the win in this last game. GG to my opponent. Able to take a 4-1 in the second set, and honestly, I gotta tell you guys, I think Togekiss is one of the strongest picks currently in the Master League. It's always done very well against all the dragons that are flying around, but now it does well against Zacian, which is a very new popular choice. It does well against Yveltal, it does well against Zarude, so I definitely think it's worth putting in your team if you're struggling with those Pokemon. So let me know what you guys think of the team. Are you enjoying Master League? Are you sticking to the little Jungle Cup? And have you got any spicy team suggestions for me to give a try in either? Let me know down below and I might give them a go before they leave next Monday. So if you've watched this far, thank you so much. If you're already subscribed, you're an absolute legend. If not, hit that button. What are you waiting for? It's free, and I'll catch you guys next time.